Morning. When Amanda and I sat down to write this speech, we realized that the things we remembered here most about Brooks were the things that we wished we could have forgotten in the moment. But looking back, those are also the times that we learned the most, laughed the most, and grew as people. Passions can push you outside your comfort zone, whether it's art, math, shopping, but in our case, it's sports. Over the past 12 seasons here at Brooks, Amanda and I have slowly come to realize that our passion for sports has not only shaped who we are today, but also brought us together as friends.
Luckily for Cutter and I, we met each other when we were 12 playing hockey for club. Little did we know that the 5 of the girls on the team would join back together for high school in the future. As you can see, Quinn hasn't changed a bit. Flashback to 2013. I think that Cutter and I can both agree that we were not the best of friends, but we were teammates, which gave us a leg up when we eventually came to Brooks because we had someone to go through the Dreadville field hockey preseason together with.
What we didn't understand before we came to Brooks is how drastically different high school sports were from club hockey. We were used to everyone making the team and playing. Boy, did that change when we got here.
When I showed up on campus freshman year in the scorching heat of early September, I was ready to go. I had prepared all summer for the strenuous field hockey tryouts that would consume my next 3 days. However, I thought it was so cool since I had 3 friends that I had met previous to the beginning of the school: Caroline Kukas, Ashley Houlihan, and Caroline Cutter.
The 3 days went by slow and painfully, and it was time to find out who was on the team. This was the first of many times we had to sit through the dreadful pain of experiencing cuts. Slowly, one by one, we went in and out of the gym as more people came out either happy or sad. However, there was a different reaction. Amanda walked out with a red-stained face as tears flowed from her face. Little did I know that this would not be the first time I saw Amanda cry. And although we were not able to play our first fall season together, nor were we able to be placed in any of the same classes, that did not stop us from suffering countless fun and embarrassing times together.
JV field hockey was a time, to say the least. Our one-year coach knew less about the sport than I think almost all the girls on the team, which says a lot. Although we weren't the most skilled team, that's what made it fun. Even though I may not have been the best field hockey player out there, I've always been very competitive and cared a lot about winning and losing. One game, when we played St. George's, I took a free hit. I basically got a free shot of the ball, and everyone else had to be 5 yards away. We were losing, and I was quite upset. So I did what I always did when I took free hits. I hit the ball as hard as I could, straight ahead. However, I looked up to see the St. George's girl on the ground, crying and grabbing her ankle. Instead of my normal, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, are you okay?" the competitive side came out of me, and I said, "You're fine. Suck it up. This is only JV. You're being a dramatic wimp." However, shortly after, with a few words said by my fellow teammates, I was calmed down and resorted to my normal, "Are you okay?" Well, sadly, this girl did not return to the game due to the fact that her ankle was completely fractured and she was out of physical activity for 8 weeks. Although this wasn't my brightest moment, I honestly look back at this moment and laugh because this poor girl took all my anger, rage, and competitiveness straight in the ankle. Since this, I have learned that I need to think before I speak, and I've learned that until I knew how to properly aim a field hockey ball, I wasn't going to be hitting it. Although JV taught me that we all have our weaknesses and we can't be good at everything we do, this truly led me to have the best times when I finally became the varsity field hockey manager. My junior and senior spring, I couldn't have felt more a part of the team, and I didn't even have to run one sprint.
My freshman and sophomore year of field hockey experience was much different. I had a solid group of friends, and the team was a blast, but my first high school sport was actually really terrifying. There was a lot of running, it was very intense, and for the most part, I did not play a singular minute. To make it worse, our record was 9-2-1, and we were one of the worst teams in the league. To be completely honest, at the end of the year, I was pretty sure that the upperclassmen thought I was a manager, because my sole job on the team was to fill the water bottles. I was the water girl. During the games, I would constantly check to make sure the waters were full. And at the end of the season, against the actual worst team in the league, we were winning 4-0, which we had not done that year. Slowly, everyone on the bench was starting to be put in. In the last 5 minutes left, I heard AMAT call my name, and instantly I went over to the water bottles to make sure they were full. This is a true story, I swear to God. Then, AMAT continued to call me a fool and told me that I was getting put in. She asked me what position I wanted to play, and that's when it hit me. I literally didn't even know what position I played. Then she threw me on defense, and one of the St. George's girls came down, continued to break my ankles, and go on a breakaway. After the game was over, I went home and decided I was never going to play field hockey again. But AMAT had a different idea. So thank you, AMAT and Stacy, for believing me and giving me a chance. Thank you for teaching us patience and the importance of every member on a team, even if they're just filling the water bottles. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have found that field hockey is actually a really fun sport. Granted, we don't really know the rules. And I wouldn't have been able to spend the fall season with my best teammates I could ask for. Plus, if I quit, I wouldn't have been able to snag this picture on the same field where I got my ankles broken freshman year. Not that.
Although Cutter wasn't cut from a sport like I was, we still shared similar experiences about riding the bench. Hockey was my favorite sport at one point, until my passion for it began to fade. I love the game and playing it. However, I can't really say I played hockey these past 4 years, maybe just practiced. But I basically spent my winter days on the bench. Occasionally getting in if we were winning by a good chunk. At first, this was very hard for me, watching all my friends go in. However, my role was to support and occasionally be there as extra equipment. For example, last year, Millie Brady's helmet fogged up during one of our important games. So I kindly decided that I would switch with her just before we went on for the second period. However, her head was very small, and mine was very big. So her helmet actually didn't fit me. So after being told to hurry up by both teams who were already on the ice, I decided to leave the fogged up helmet half on. As you can all guess, this wasn't very smart, due to the simple fact that I couldn't see where I was supposed to get onto the ice. So I fell into the boards very hard by myself. Although I look back, and this is pretty funny now, I honestly took the walk of shame across the river's ice to a laughing team and a very angry coach. Hockey has honestly taught me to make the most of whatever you have. As cliche as that sounds, it's so true. Some of the best stories I will have from the school are the times and fun that we had in the hockey locker room.
Unlike Amanda, winter season my freshman year was a relief. Hockey was my favorite sport at the time, and with only 7 forwards on the team, I knew that there was no chance I couldn't play. My freshman year, I was on the work hard and discipline line, which basically meant the line that made sure no goals went in when the scoring line was resting. At the time, we didn't realize that this line was vital to the key to the success of the team. And plus, it's really fun to occasionally make jokes about it. This line learned that discipline was the key to not getting scored on and winning games, but it was also really fun playing with Tegan and Tess. Hockey changed each year, but each new team we were able to keep as crazy and fun as the last. The times that we remembered most were the times waiting for the late night practice slot in the locker room, or finding a new throwback remix on SoundCloud, or even having team dinner and debating about random topics that have absolutely no relation to anything in the world.
We still managed to make lasting memories despite our different feelings about the sport, like losing 2 championship games, being nicknamed Coach for no reason, being nicknamed Bertram after the butler and Jesse for absolutely no reason, creating crazy dance routines to crazy songs, or just sitting and crying. You need to be able to rely on your friends and teammates like I did when I would sit on the couch in the locker room and cry because it was 7:40 p.m. at night and we had practice. You also need your friends to laugh at you and constantly remind you about the one time you were on for a goal, except your celebration just didn't go as planned. Although hockey wasn't and isn't my main passion, I learned how I could hype up the team by either rapping all the words to the song My Humps or dancing around like absolute fools to a variety of songs with Isabella, O'Keefe, and Brianna in our little corner. These crazy routines taught me that I could still have an impact on the success of the team even without being a starter.
Sharps had 2 goals for us during the time at Brooks Hockey. 1, win a New England championship. Well, we all know who that turned out. And 2, make us better people in life. So thank you, Sharps, Holmes, and Jay, for pushing us to not only be better hockey players, but also better people. I think I can speak for all of us that you taught us the importance of teamwork, positivity, discipline. And thank you for accepting our craziness and not stopping us from belting I'm a B 5 minutes before puck drop.
Lacrosse freshman year was interesting because it wasn't at all what I expected. Coming in as a new freshman, I had no authority, absolutely none. So similar to Cutter's field hockey experience, we were literally the managers for the team, picking up the balls and cones. However, I got out of the constant torment due to the sole fact that I was the only goalie. Despite the constant work that it took being a freshman on the team, I was honestly the only one who loved it. Coming in as the only goalie was fun, but it was also a ton of pressure. Pressure from coaches, teammates, family, and of course, myself. There was no one that could step in when I wasn't playing well, and I had no one to hang out with during the long and sometimes very painful practices. I felt like I couldn't even take a break, even after a certain senior hit me in the head about 4 times per practice, and then admitted that she was target practicing and testing her accuracy.
Coming to Brooks, I loved lacrosse, and I used to think I wanted to go to UNC and play D1 lacrosse. Till my freshman year, I did not realize how ridiculous this sounded because I can't run a 2-mile or play 3v4 box without crying. Lacrosse at Brooks was different from any previous lacrosse team. I was used to playing with girls my own age and, well, playing. I was scared, intimidated, and my skills were no way ready to play against the girls that were out there. So riding the bench for freshman year lacrosse was actually kind of a relief. I couldn't mess up, I could make jokes with my friends, and my mom used to make jokes that I had the least goals against. Another perk were the snacks. Shout out to all the parents who helped bring snacks to our games because it really helped after sitting on the bench 5 hours after lunch. One time, Stacy even caught me with popcorners in my hand, and instead of taking them away from me, she asked for a couple, and made sure I didn't spill them on the turf. Over time, though, I lost confidence in my lacrosse ability, and lacrosse soon became a requirement instead of a passion.
Each athlete has their own struggle. Cutter struggled with her confidence, and I was, and still am, somewhat of a mental mess.
The video.
There's no sound, but I was absolutely bawling. I cried almost every single game freshman year because no one listened to me. I was just there during games. Over the next couple years, I truly found where my passion lied. My biggest struggle, and most athletes' biggest struggle, is being too hard on themselves. Still, to this day, I am very hard on myself, sometimes a little too much, but I've learned to control it. You can even ask Cutter, I'm not that much of a mental head case anymore, and I only cry sometimes.
Similar to Amanda, lacrosse got better for the rest of us in the next years. Sophomore year was different. The upperclassmen worked hard to change the program for the better. They supported us and even made lacrosse really fun. They proved that good leadership could make a huge difference. We even created a girls varsity lacrosse meme page. If you want to check it out, it's BGVL, memes on fleek with 4 E's. Lacrosse might have had its ups and downs emotionally, but we can always count on the team for some fun and to bring us out of our bad days. Our endless table-topping wars that had to be discontinued temporarily due to injury, our constant meme or Vine remakes, and of course, our debates over which characters each member of the team would be if we were part of the Vampire Diaries.
So to Mr. Hesse, Miss Johnston, Miss Brennan, Church, Stacy, and our honorary coach, Amat, thank you so much for pushing us these past 4 years to help me realize the love for the game. Despite the bruises and the very painful injuries, thank you very much for reining in the team at some necessary points, especially during last season's table topping wars.
At Brooks, you are going to explore your passion in so many different ways. You're going to experience things and realize they are not for you. For example, I now know that UNC lacrosse might just be a little bit of a reach. Passions are what shape who you are, and they teach you the lessons that can't be taught in the classroom. For us, it was sports. Field hockey taught us patience and the importance of everyone's roles on the team, including managers. Hockey taught us discipline and how positive energy can truly make a difference. And last but not least, lacrosse taught us that good leadership can change everything, and that there actually is such a balance between having fun and being serious.
So thank you to all of our coaches, advisors, friends that have made these past 4 years so eventful and special. Thank you to our parents for everything you guys have done over the past 4 years to make all of this possible. And thank you to Brooks for allowing us to follow our true passions and push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Thank you.